Alrighty, I wanted to make a prediction video because I haven't done that in a very long time. And I was looking back at the videos I used to make. It's been years, but 2, 3 years ago, I made some prediction videos on the NASDAQ and they were very accurate, like extremely accurate. So I want to make another video because I see an opportunity in Bitcoin, and I also just wanted to be able to look back at what I'm thinking now versus what ends up happening, because that's how you get better. So let's start off with what is currently making headlines. Crypto is being sold off due to geopolitics and now the strengthening US dollar narrative around the nomination of Kevin Warsh as the new Fed chair by Donald Trump. For whatever reason, people are thinking he's going to be a hawk, just because of previous remarks that he's made about quantitative easing and how he's generally opposed to it. Now, do you think that Donald Trump would have chosen him versus Rick Reeder or Ryder, however you pronounce his last name, if he knew that Kevin Warsh was just going to keep rates extremely high and choke the economy? No, I don't think so. I think that Kevin Warsh is going to bend the knee. That's why he got chosen. And I think that this is a knee-jerk reaction. This whole strength in the US dollar, metal markets crash. But that's besides the point. What I want to get at is what I think is happening with Bitcoin. So I think that where we are sitting right now is obviously a key level. Everybody knows this. Doesn't mean not to buy here. I would say now is a decent spot to actually get a little bit of Bitcoin. Right at 75,000. That's a psychological price level. So here's the thing. One of the biggest headlines in crypto is MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy with the ticker MSTR. And they have an engineered financial scheme, if you will, where they sell common equity and they use that money to buy Bitcoin. Their average price for Bitcoin, because they were buying it all the way up here, 75,000-ish, 75, 76,000. So that's where we're sitting right now. So what I think is going to happen is we're going to get some sort of manipulation below this level, because that's what the media wants. Most people do not like MSTR, and they are under the impression that if Bitcoin goes below their average price, that they will no longer be, they'll have to liquidate and they'll go bankrupt. Now that's wrong, because what actually has to happen for that to be the case would be Bitcoin goes extremely low, stays there, everybody panics. People who issued debt to them are going to demand a repayment of the debt if their share price stays low, because they have a lot of convertible notes, which means if the share price reaches a certain level, they can either convert the loan back into shares or just receive their interest in terms of cash if the share price doesn't go above that level. So if the share price stays down and the narrative is bad around MSTR, then you'll probably see these people just demand cash, and that will accelerate the problem. They have, it's about 30 months worth of cash in terms of paying their dividends, and their dividends are just financing their debt. So all this to say, Bitcoin would need to stay really low for at least 2 years for MSTR to actually face a bankruptcy situation. I don't think that's going to happen. So what I think is going to happen is we will do something here. Not sure what it is. Maybe we bounce. Maybe we just sit here and then drop. But I think we're going to go a bit lower. There may be some new geopolitics that some sort of event that happens just with the way things are going in the world that can act as a catalyst to send the price down. And then what I believe is going to happen is we will hit around this support here, this major zone on the weekly time frame. Anywhere in this area is where I would consider the absolutely load up zone. I do believe that the narrative will shift. There will be some sort of easing in geopolitics, and then the narrative of currency debasement and lack of trust in the US government in terms of their fiscal policy and their debt situation I think that's going to propel Bitcoin higher, and finite assets as well. So silver and gold. Now, why I think Bitcoin will fare well is because think about if you're trying to transport that kind of wealth with you, billions of dollars, let's say. Can you do that with Bitcoin? Or sorry, can you do that with silver or gold? Kind of. It's not easy carrying, kilos of a metal around with you. Also, sometimes it's hard to sell it. That's what's happened in a lot of metal dealers, especially in the US. They actually stopped buying because they ran out of cash. Versus Bitcoin, if you want to sell it at any time, any second, you can do it immediately. I think that is a huge advantage of Bitcoin, and it's really not getting talked about right now. So, all this to say, I think that we are going to probably continue this move to the downside. It might take a couple months as well, but I'll be watching around this area here in the 60s. Maybe we stop at 69,000. We've done it before, looking over here. But then I would buy, and I would expect price to kind of chug along, start heading upwards. My first target, I'd be targeting 100,000 US again, and then I'd be waiting. I don't know what's going to happen at that point in time, and potentially we get a accumulation. Let's go to the monthly time frame. This makes it actually a lot more clear, the zone I'm looking at here on the monthly. So I expect to move down here, some sort of bounce, and then we will start heading up. And then at this point, somewhere in this area up here, that could be a potential exit. Or if things are looking good, then what you could expect to see is some sort of consolidation and a push higher. And I would be targeting 150. And that's probably a 2-year target for me would be 150,000. So that would put us at like February of 2028. So that's my prediction. Unless something fundamentally breaks with Bitcoin, it becomes outlawed and illegal to hold it. I think that higher prices are in the future. So MSTR and this strengthening US dollar is just I think a red herring for a move down, just for better opportunity to get in at a lower price before the uptrend continues and we hit new all-time highs. So that's my prediction. Looking forward to seeing how this plays out and making an update video.